Hello, how you doing? Welcome back once again to howtocookgreatfood.com. If you haven't already, do us a favor, click that subscribe button, helps us out a great deal. On the menu today, we're going to make lamb or mutton biryani. Absolutely wonderful stuff. Takes a little while, but the result, of course, is supreme and obviously worth it. Let's get on with it. Okay, let's take a look at what we've got here. What we're going to do here is make the curry meat. So I've got lamb or mutton. This is actually a lamb. I'm using leg of lamb, so it's a lovely cut. I've got some bones in there. I've got a bit of fat in there, about 700 grams there. Tomato, 2 decent sized tomatoes, cut nice and small. Try and use a nice juicy tomato. 1 decent sized onion, again, I've cut that small. Here we've got the big 4, 2 teaspoons each of chili powder, coriander, cumin, and turmeric. Fresh chili, large tablespoon, like a heaped tablespoon of garlic ginger paste. In here we've got our whole garam masala. What I'm using today here is cumin seeds, black peppercorns, a few cloves, green cardamom, bay leaf, and cinnamon. And in there I've got some cilantro or coriander. We're going to start this off with some oil. We're going to add some salt. Okay, so I've got a nice pan here. I've got some oil in there. I'm using a sunflower oil. You could be using an oil or even a ghee if you want. Let's drop in all of those lovely whole spices and let them do their thing in that hot oil just for a few seconds. They might spit and splutter. Don't skip this step, it's very, very important. There you go, off they go, off they go. Right, to that, we're now gonna add in our meat. And you can see that I've got some bones in there, a little bit of fat on it, but there's some lovely meat there as well. Okay, so we're on a high heat for about 4 minutes. Stay on the high heat and just keep stirring it or just seal it just a little bit. Okay, I've just turned the heat down to just above a medium now. In goes that bit of cinnamon, the bay leaves, and the onion. Gonna get some salt in there as well. So we're on just above a medium heat now, not on the raging heat like we were before. And I'll be back in about another 4 to 5 minutes. Give it a stir every now and then. Okay, absolutely beautiful. Next up, we're going to add our garlic ginger paste. Garlic ginger paste, 50-50 mix of garlic and ginger. You can buy it in most stores, depending on where you live. Or like us, you can make it yourself. We use loads of it, so we're always using it. Spices, here we go. If you want a regular curry powder, or do what I'm doing, which is the big 4, I always call it the big 4, chili, cumin, turmeric, and coriander. In that goes. To that, we're going to add our tomato. Try and use a nice juicy ripe tomato. We're going to drop in our fresh chili. We're going to add some water. Couple of cups of water there. Right, we're going to get this on the go. I'm going to cover this and let it go for about 6 or 7 minutes. Okay, let's have a little look in here. That is looking beautiful. Got enough moisture from the tomatoes and that little bit of added water. If you didn't, you could add a little bit more water. Okay, so simmer. We're going to go to a really nice low heat now. You let that go for about another 15 minutes. Okay, off goes the heat. Off comes the lid. Let me get some steam out of there for you. Really beautiful. You can see that's really cooked nicely. Those bones are really exposed now. Now, be careful with mutton. If you're using a cheap quality mutton, you really need to cook it. This is not that bad. So, it's fine. Absolutely wonderful at this stage. Okay, cilantro or coriander, in that goes. We're going to give that a little mix, and then this is done. We can move on to the next step. The next thing we're going to be doing is we're going to fry some onions, which we're going to place on top. So set that aside. Let's move on. So I've got some oil in there. I'm using the sunflower oil. I haven't got that much oil in it. Some people actually deep fry their onions here. And I've got a couple of onions which I've sliced. Just very simply, we're going to drop them all in. And you can fry them really crispy if you want, or slightly under. It's entirely up to you. So that's it, just onions, oil. We're going to be frying away. I'll probably be back in about 5 or 6 minutes. High heat, by the way. Okay, off goes the heat. That's kind of where I like my onions. They've got a nice kind of little bit of blackening on them, but it's still soft. Some people like them really, really crispy. But yeah, for me, that's where I'm happy. So, I'm going to set them aside. So, the mutton or lamb is done, the curry. The onions are done. Let's get onto some rice next. So here we are. So I've got a big pot here. This is the pot we're actually going to cook the whole biryani in. I've got my rice in there. I've got some lovely quality basmati. Now there are loads of different qualities and types of rice. Try and get the most expensive one you can. I've washed that about 2 or 3 times. We're going to add some salt in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cook that until it's like 60% of the way. So what you're going to need to do is get in there, get a bit out and bite it. You want a kind of little bite to it. So not fully cooked. Some people soak their rice first and then cook it. I don't find that necessary. So this is probably going to take just about 5 or 6 minutes once it reaches boiling point. Then we're going to drain off any water, set it aside, and then we're ready. That means we've got the rice, the onions, and our meat ready. Okay, off goes the heat. Let's get that rice out of there. Let's grab a bit. Yeah, so it looks kind of cooked, but it's got a nice bite to it. Perfect. I'm going to drain that off. We're pretty much ready to get it together now. Okay, so we've got the pot here that we cook the rice in. What we're going to do is we're going to start off by getting in some of our meat. We're just going to sort of layer it up. So just going to go with a little bit of meat in there, a little bit of sauce. Then what I'm going to do is get the rice, which is about 60–70% cooked. It's got a nice bite to it. Get some of that in there. I've also here got some lovely fresh mint. You could use cilantro if you want, but I think mint's beautiful. Optional, but you can put in a few sultanas or raisins or some bit of dried fruit. I like that in there. You could cook it into the curry as well if you wanted, but it will cook nicely in there. And then we're going to repeat. So we're going to go meat, rice, meat, rice, meat, rice, ending with the rice on the top. Let me do that. Okay, so absolutely divine. That's beautiful. Okay, so that is beautiful. Really, really lovely. Now what I've got here is I've got some turmeric mixed with some water, teaspoon or so of turmeric, and then what we're going to do is just splash this over just to give a little bit of colour. You could use food colouring if you want, like a kind of red or orange food colour, or yellow, up to you. But yeah, I think the turmeric with the water works just as well. It will just give it a nice little bit of colour here and there. We are off to the cooker. Okay, so look, I've got the heat on pretty low. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this pan on there, or you could use a flat griddle or something, and we're going to put the biryani on that. So it just gives it a nice extra layer of metal there, because what can happen is if you put that straight on, it can burn at the bottom. So keep the flame, nice and low. Get a lid on it. If you want, you could get some pastry mix and put it all around the edge there and seal it. And another thing to do is you can get a tea towel inside there and press it down so it kind of just catches it and kind of seals it nicely. I'm okay like that. I'm going to do one thing. Give me a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do, you see that hole there, the steam hole? What I've got is just a bit of kitchen paper, made it wet, and over it goes. Just want to seal that in. I don't want any steam coming out. You want to kind of, like I say, get it nice and tight. Traditionally, in lots of places, they will put a pastry seal on the edge, or you can use a tea towel. I'm actually good there. This is quite a good tightish kind of lid. Right, low heat. We're going to let that go now for about 15 to 25 minutes, something like that. All right, off goes the heat. Off comes the lid. And that is looking absolutely beautiful. Now, if you want, you could have put your onions on it and cooked them on. I like mine once I serve it. But look at that. That turmeric's kind of give off a nice little colour there. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Look at that. Lovely, beautiful, fluffy rice. Is that lovely? Mutton or lamb in there with the curry. That is stunning. Hope you enjoy that. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll see you soon. Lots of love. Wow, wow.